Welcome to the Beginner's Guide to Little Witch Nobeta. Whether you are an experienced veteran of the Souls-like genre or a complete beginner, you have come to the right place, as Little Witch Nobeta is a fresh take on the genre, with lots of unique mechanics. There's much to learn for you to master the elemental magics and claim the throne, so let's delve into this. Firstly, we have our UI. At the top of the screen, you can see our stamina, health, and mana bars. The top yellow bar is your stamina. This is incredibly important as it's what allows us to roll, sprint, and jump. If your stamina bar drops to 0, Nobeta will fall over, and you'll be stuck prone until that bar recharges. Though it is quite adorable to see Nobeta trip like this, it means you'll be easy pickings for your enemies, so you will want to manage your stamina carefully. The green bar is your health. Naturally, if this hits 0, Nobeta will be slain. Finally, we have the blue mana bar. This is the resource we use to cast spells. If this drops to 0, you will not be able to cast any magic and instead will have to rely on close combat. As a witch, this is really not an ideal situation to be in, given how dangerous enemies can be up close. So try to make sure you always have a little mana in reserve just in case you get trapped in a tricky situation. You also use your mana to perform channeling. This charges up spells, unlocking their powerful abilities. This takes time, however, and a considerable amount of mana. In the top left corner of the screen, we can see the symbol for the types of magic you are currently using, and next to it a bar. This bar shows you how long you have left to channel an element and how long the effects will last. The bar fills up as you charge your spell and depletes as the power-up effects wear off. For the last of the UI, we have our inventory, located at the bottom of the screen. To select an item, simply move left or right on the directional pad. To use an item, press up, and to discard an item, press down on the directional pad. It's good to know that using items takes a little bit of time, during which you are vulnerable to attacks. If you attempt to use an item and get hit by an enemy before you finish, you will immediately drop that item. So make sure to be careful and always have some decent distance between yourself and your enemies before risking a cheeky heal. Up next, let's take a look at the basics of combat. You have two main forms of attacking in Little Witch Nobeta. The first and most important is magic. Due to its versatility and power, this should be your main form of attack. You have 6 forms of elemental magic to use that will be unlocked as you progress throughout the game. We have Arcane, Ice, Fire, Lightning, Wind, and Absorption. Each of these have their own effects, power-ups, and usefulness in the game. To use magic, simply pull down on the trigger, that's ZR on Switch, or R2 on PlayStation, to deliver some long-range punishment to those who stand between you and the throne. Arcane is a multi-purpose single-shot form of magic. Fire is great in close quarters, working like a shotgun to clear out those close to you. Ice is a rapid-fire beam, and Lightning is your single-shot, slow-firing but devastating sniper. The exceptions to this are Wind and Absorption magic, which operate separately. Wind is your double jump and Absorption is your counter. Close combat is very satisfying. You press your R or your R1 bumper to deliver some powerful blows to an enemy who has gotten a little too close for comfort. You can strike multiple times in a row, and this is a great way to finish off monsters if your mana is running a little dry. You do decent damage in combat, but so do your opponents, so this should be used more as a last resort or when you expend your mana bar. If you have channeled an element, however, your combat attacks will do vastly more damage. So against enemies who are posing too much of a challenge at range, try mixing it up by channeling some elements before rushing your enemy and giving them a swift bonk to the head. Channeling elements is a crucial part of combat and should be used often. To channel an element, simply tap the Y button on Nintendo Switch or the square button on PlayStation. And this will start Nobeta off, powering up her staff. This will take a little bit of time and can indeed be interrupted if you get hit. You can still roll while channeling, but it will pause the charge until the roll has been completed. If you change your mind, simply press the same button again mid-charge and you'll get some of your mana back. Charging your spells will increase your damage output both with range and combat attacks, whilst likewise unlocking your spell's special. To use this special, simply aim with your staff by using the left trigger. I won't spoil the special attacks in this guide, but instead let you go out and explore them for yourself. Each has its own advantages and disadvantages depending on what opponent you are facing, and they can be incredibly useful when solving some of the game's many puzzles. It's good to note this game does indeed have a lock-on system for those who enjoy that level of control, but it is not mandatory, and you can play through the game without ever locking onto a target. Friendly fire is on, so be careful with a few of your more explosive abilities, as they can certainly chunk down your health bar. You can also counterattack your opponents to throw them off kilter and save yourself in some dangerous scenarios. To do this, you will have to attack them in combat just before their shots are about to connect. This will stun them and keep you nice and safe for a quick getaway. We will now discuss the basics of your opponents. All enemies have weak spots on them that, if hit, allow you to do some significant extra damage. This can normally be done via headshots or shooting any part of their body which is glowing. You will soon learn to spot these weaknesses for yourself and take swift advantage of them. High damage hits by your opponents are almost always telegraphed, giving you a window of time to prepare to dodge, and can often be spotted by watching your opponents and waiting for them to do an extra flamboyant movement or setup. There is a mixture of ranged and close combat enemies, as well as bosses that you will encounter on your adventures during Little Witch Nobeta. So be prepared to adapt your tactics depending on which foe confronts you. Tactics which work on one target might not work on the others. Up next, let's take a look at mobility. A vital tool at your disposal is your roll. This is crucial to dodging enemy attacks and is something you will have to master to defeat many of the bosses and tougher foes in the game. To dodge, simply use the A button on Switch or the circle button on PlayStation. This will use up some of your stamina, but it is well worth it to avoid a potentially deadly blow. If you manage to pull off the perfect dodge roll, you'll also be rewarded with a small amount of mana. Unlike some Souls-like games, Little Witch Nobeta actually has a jump button, and it is incredibly useful during exploration, as it allows you to explore hidden locations, solve puzzles, and avoid low sweeping attacks. To jump, simply press the B button on Switch or X button on PlayStation. You can gain some extra distance whilst jumping by using your melee button, that's R or R1, to give yourself a cheeky little boost, and this can help you unlock areas previously inaccessible. Very early on in the game, you will acquire a double jump. This is great for the obvious reasons of helping you explore better, but it is also a really useful tool for you to protect yourself from scary drops. When you're just about to hit the ground after launching yourself from a dangerous height, simply use the jump button again to activate the double jump. This will take away the momentum of your fall and have you landing safely. Next, we'll be discussing how death works in Little Witch Nobeta. Prepare to die. Dying is something almost all players will be doing at some point in their journey, as Little Witch Nobeta sets out to be a challenging game. Dying will occur when your health bar is reduced to 0, or if you fall into hazardous terrain, such as lava or a pit of endless darkness. When you die, Nobeta will wake up near a goddess statue as if awoken from a dream. These statues also operate as your save points, and you can teleport to the last one you visited. Upon death, enemies you have previously slain will be respawned, however, any puzzles or sections of the map unlocked will remain solved. These statues not only operate as your save points, but also as your shop to buy items and a place to upgrade your stats. Nobeta has 6 stats that you can buff as the game goes on: health, mana, stamina, strength, intelligence, and haste. Upgrading your health will permanently increase your maximum HP by +6, and the mana upgrade does the same for your mana. Increasing your stamina attribute will permanently increase your stamina by +3, and leveling up your strength will increase your combat power, mana regeneration, and aiming stability. When you level up your intelligence, it will increase your magical damage output, and finally, leveling up haste will increase your channeling speed and extend your aura duration. To upgrade stats and purchase items, you're going to need Soul Essence. Soul Essence operates as both your currency and your experience. On death, you will keep your Soul Essence unless you are cursed, and you can be cursed by using certain items. And that curse isn't going anywhere until you make it back to a goddess statue and start to pray. The higher the curse, the more Soul Essence you will lose upon your death, and you can see when you are being cursed by the skull icon in the corner flaring up. Running the risk of being cursed makes it a good idea to spend your soul essence while you can, as the goddess statue's items will never be cursed. Next, we're going to discuss the importance of exploration. Not only is it fun running through the landscape of Little Witch Nobeta, uncovering every secret in the hardest to reach areas, but it is well worth your time, as you can find items vital to success amongst the many treasure chests. In your travels, you'll be able to find many standard items, but also grimoires, expansion bags, and mysterious crystals. These are rare and powerful items, which will often be found in tricky to locate chests. Grimoires are fantastic, as they are what allows you to learn new types of magic, and for every additional copy you find, you'll level up your spells, making them more powerful, so you should always try to seek these out. Expansion bags will increase the number of items you can hold by 1 for every new bag you find. You will start with 4 of these automatically at the start of the game, so be careful when deciding what items to buy and carry, as you do have a limited carrying capacity. Mysterious crystals are some of the most powerful consumable items in the game. Upon use, these rare crystals will create a field of magic that, when inside, will gradually restore your health and mana. These items are hard to come by, but can help out massively against powerful bosses. There are also items hidden around the map that reveal secret snippets of lore that you can piece together to understand some of the characters and wider scope of your situation in more vivid detail. It's easy to get lost in Little Witch Nobeta's vast areas, so a good trick to learn early on is to light lanterns as you pass them. By doing this, you will easily be able to check if you have been down a particular path already and keep yourself moving in the right direction. You can acquire items in other ways than just exploration, as you can also buy items at the goddess statues, but be aware, these items tend to be the more basic items, easily accessible in your adventures. Little Witch Nobeta has some tough boss fights and challenging areas, so it's good to remind yourself every now and again that these tough moments aren't blocking your path, they are the path, and walking down that path is very rewarding. I hope that you found this guide useful, and I wish you the best of luck on your adventures. Little Witch Nobeta is out now on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. If you enjoyed the content, feel free to leave a juicy thumbs up and subscribe, but more importantly, keep your staff ready and have a magical time.